Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Me and Daniel are here. We're going to start the show here in about a minute or so. Get ready here. So, hello. Ooh. Yeah, the answer to that question is definitely no. Dude, I mean, so what I'm going to do is, usually with a weekly poll, I let my guest have the opinion and he talks about it, and then I'm going to save my opinion for the next week's show, so I can talk about it on the break run with whoever else is coming on. I think Clint Novak might come on next week, so that's a spoiler for anybody that's watching the live stream, and for Daniel. And then Harry from CoasterBot might come on as well. Actually, Harry's going to come on next week, excuse me, and Clint will come on the weekend after that. So whoever's on next week, whatever, I'll let them have we'll talk about it. So I'll let you have your opinion on it, and you'll definitely be able to talk, and I can say, like, I agree or whatever, and I'll be like, I'm going to leave my opinion for the next week's show.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
I don't know. We'll save it for there. So let's get Audacity up. I did a podcast last week, and I just haven't put it up yet, guys. So that was I've been doing good. I've been on this month 2. I've actually 2 months. I've been up publishing every week, and then 1 week, just had a lot of homework. I was sick. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but why does Audacity do this? It can't read. I have to exit out of it out of the app, so it can read that I have my microphone, because I just plugged this microphone in. So
okay.
It doesn't just automatically pick it up. It has to close the app and reopen the app. It's kind of dumb, but gotta test. Gotta get your audio set up, Daniel. 1 second. Okay, so your audio. Okay, let's get this set up. Speakers. Okay, so test your audio, just whatever you want. Test.
Roller coasters are life.
That is true.
Roller coasters are life.
Picked up pretty good. Okay. Okie dokie. So let me test my audio real quick, and then we can get started. Test. Testing the audio, and Daniel was right about roller coasters being life. Test. Okay, my audio sounds fine. Let me get I like to monitor the YouTube stream. Let me get that up, and then we can begin. Okay, there it is. Did you get a chance to watch the RMC Gwazi analysis on our channel yet?
No, I did not.
That took. I'm not bashing. I'm just saying that took a lot. Not to make you feel bad, but I'm saying it literally took a lot of time. It took me 4 hours, because my video editor isn't bad. It's just that was a big video, and I had 4 or 5 other videos on top of that video, so it was 4 hours of process. I got the news at 6, and then I was up to I think I published it 1 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my god, it was terrible. It was not easy. It was not easy. Okie dokie. Ooh, the feed looks like it's coming through pretty badly. Let me check on my phone. Anyone watching on the live stream, I can see the comments, but looks like it's coming through pretty bad. Visually. Oh, nope, it's actually coming through pretty good. I'm watching it on my phone, so. Oh, I don't like this. This needs to move down a little bit. So I'm gonna 1 sec, guys. I'm gonna move back to the old screen. No, I'm not actually. I'm just going to move this while I'm recording, which looks kind of bad, but whatever. Okay, we're almost ready? I mean, I know you're ready.
I'm good when you are.
I'm moving this like in the middle of the stream, so that doesn't look very good, but who cares? I don't like how this looks. Teach me how to use OBS. Well, I'm not particularly great at OBS. I just kind of wing it. I don't think it looks. I don't think mine looks terrific, but you know, at this point, this is where I am. Ooh, I think I moved this a little too far, so you can see that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, I guess that's about it. That's all we gotta do. Okay. And I keep saying okay, but let's go. Whew. Wait, okay, we got the audio together. Ready, Daniel?
I am.
Just gotta act naturally. The thing is, I have to start. I have to start it off with like some. I have to draw the audience in, so it's a little hard every week to think of something new. I can't just be like, "Hello, welcome." I want to like have like almost like a story before, or something like to talk about, like we just did this or something like that, or blah blah blah.
I understand.
Ooh. Okay. We have a huge announcement this week, Daniel. And yes, that's right, Daniel's joining me this week. No. Terrible. Mistakes. Can't afford them. I like that along the lines, but then I said Daniel. And I'm like, oh no, why did I say Daniel's name? No one's going to be like, it's not like the host every week, they're going to be like, who's Daniel? Because I've grown a lot since the last time you came on, so people might not realize. Okay, so I have it as it. We have had a huge week of theme park news. Really big surprising announcement came out of Florida, which we're going to talk about in the next segment of the show. But right now, it's just welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. My name is James Barber, and we have a big friend of mine, or a good friend of mine, not big. I'm saying you're overweight, but we have Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me.
So Daniel, you've been on the show multiple times before, but I think we haven't had you on in a while. So I thought it was your right to come back on and to talk some with the Coaster Talk audience.
I've been missing it. It's good to talk with you guys.
Okay, so that's right. I was just talking about some big Florida news. We have a lot to talk about. We have a fun-filled podcast. That's definite. So let's start off the show like we do with every week with attraction news. Okay, you do remember we take pauses after each, right?
Oh, I do.
Okay, You remember the format. You remember it all. Okay, so. Ooh, 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna get my Facebook thing up real quick so I can do that when we get up there. So I can just turn my phone on. See everybody that's donated. Okay. We're ready. Even though like half of these people are my family members.
Hey, they're still good people.
Exactly, but they're not going to listen to this probably, but it doesn't matter. I can just pretend like I can pretend like I don't know these people and be like, and we have Debbie, thank you so much, Debbie. I don't know who you are, but you donated $50, thank you. Okay. Ooh, I just realized, look at this, I made a little error up there. 42, not 41. Okay. Okay, so some big news this week out of one of widely considered the best parks in North America, and that is Busch Gardens Tampa Bay, and we have finally gotten the news. And a lot of people already know this, and myself included. I mean, I've been talking about this since last year. I had a show about that. That was actually, believe it or not, that's the most listened to podcast that I have. I believe it has over 400 listens, and that is the RMC Gwazi episode where I was talking about the possibility of an RMC Gwazi happening, and now It has been confirmed. RMC Gwazi is coming to Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. And this is a huge, huge deal because, I mean, even when they were announcing and saying this is a hybrid announcement, they were dropping all these keywords, people were still going, no, this is not a, those people were going, it's not a RMC Gwazi. This is not really happening. They're just teasing us. I'm like, I don't know how many more clues they have to give you in order for you to believe that this is actually happening. But there were still people on, countless social media, Discord, Skype, everywhere you could go. There were still people that were saying, this is not happening, this is not happening. It's just a tease. I'm like, I really feel like, I felt strongly about that it was not a tease, and now we know it is not. And I was right, and I'm going to rub it in all your faces. I was talking about it. I said 2018. I've been talking about it for a long, long time, and it's finally happened. So this is going to be the world's tallest, world's steepest, and world's fastest hybrid coaster. This is going to be part of their 60th anniversary. And we actually did a video about this on the Coaster Talk podcast YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go check out a full analysis on it, because I don't think we're going to get too deep into analyzing the layout and all of that. We're not going to be talking about that too much. We're just going to be talking about the actual stats and how the ride is going to be. But if you want a full analysis, then go check out the YouTube channel. But this is going to be over 200 feet tall. It's going to be the tallest. It's going to beat Steel Vengeance. So that's the big talk. It's going to beat Steel Vengeance. It's going to have some restored elements from the former Gwazi layout. So that's a big thing. Obviously, people were talking about when the European Coaster magazine came out a couple months ago, and they're talking about the lift hill being reused as an element, and they're actually going to have a steel lift hill. So the European Coaster magazine was right. I haven't heard anybody really give props to them, but I talked about it on the podcast a couple months ago. They were right. They talked about there's going to be a steel lift hill that it's going to have restored. The first drop, the original first drop of Gwazi is going to be restored and used as some sort of element. They were right. They called this, and that's what's going to happen. And I believe, and this could be completely wrong, but I believe this restored element is going to be, it looks like it might be that zero-G roll through the actual first drop. I believe that looks like the massive structure of a lift hill. It might be completely wrong. It might be in another area of the ride, but that's what I thought when I first saw the promo video, and I'm like, oh, there's a big zero-G roll coming out of the first drop. That might be the old lift hill, but not 100% sure. So yeah, this coaster is going to be filled with amazing elements, and I'm really excited for it.
I am too. European magazine helped me don't know what to say, but I'm excited. I'm excited.
It definitely makes me want to go to Busch Gardens in 2020.
That's right. I never got to experience Gwazi as it was, but yeah, these RMCs have been able to breathe a new life into so many coasters, and I'm glad I'm going to be able to go and see life in this park in that area, and see this coaster just dominate everything around it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think it's a little strange that they left that there for so long. I know they were probably planning on this RMC for a while, but it's really not like a pretty sight, especially park guys. They left the sign up that said Gwazi. They left the station. They didn't really do any demolition. I feel like that's a little strange to leave out this humongous, massive wooden structure that people are probably going to go into the park thinking it's open. That's a big ride. Not everyone knows. Not everyone has the coaster knowledge of enthusiasts that we know it's not open. These people might go into the park and say, let's go ride the big wooden coaster, and then find out it's closed. And then, it's really strange that they just kind of left that. I believe I was running pretty well before it closed. I didn't hear that it had a lot of issues in terms of maintenance or anything high cost. So maybe why not leave it up for another season or two if they know they're going to RMC it down the line, or maybe they didn't, and maybe they were figuring that out. What are we going to do? Are we going to demolish it? Are we going to leave it up for an RMC or what? But I just feel like leaving it up. 3 or 4 years not non-operational is a little strange for a park to do. Hurler, Steel, Main Street, those were all closed the last season. They were closed, and then they were RMC. That's during the off season. I guess Hurler, you could technically say, that closed a lot earlier, but still, that was one season. It was not 4 years or 5 years. I think it's a little bit strange, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, for Busch Gardens, I don't know what they were thinking. I do know that the Florida humidity and all, I think, did have an effect on the wood, which didn't lead to easy maintenance, and the coaster ran year-round. And it was double-sided, So that's 4 trains, 2 full tracks, not 2 half tracks, 2 full-length tracks that had to be maintained. I'm sure that cut into them a bit. But having it stand there just doesn't seem like a Busch Gardens thing to do.
Yeah.
It does seem like an eyesore. And from what I've heard other people say is that that part of the park is just dead now, just because no one's going there for Gwazi and it hasn't been maintained. I mean, that happens in all parks, and then they breathe new life into the certain areas, as we've seen with Twisted Timbers and Steel Vengeance. But it just doesn't seem like something Busch Gardens should have done for 4 years. And I mean, were they thinking about RMC back then? Or were they just thinking about closing it down because they didn't want the maintenance and they didn't want to spend cost to tear it down? And then they've had these other rides come in. And I mean, Busch got hit as well around that time by Blackfish, mind you.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
they probably didn't want to spend money on tearing it down, just let it be. And they knew their other rides would still get people in. So
yeah. I am curious, and maybe down the line, eventually, if you ever get to, or anybody gets to talk to the Busch Gardens staff, I'm curious how recent this decision was. Was this a 1 year ago, 2 year ago, 3 year ago, 4 year? I mean, how long have they? Did they already know it when they closed it? Did they know it like last year? Did they figure this out? What was the plan to do? Maybe not exactly. Maybe it wasn't to RMC. Maybe it was to like retrack it with GCI, and then that didn't work out. Or maybe it was to completely refurbish it, like Ghost Rider, Knott's Berry Farm, or whatever. Was it something like that, or was it always RMC? I'm really curious to hear the decision process for this.
Now, RMC has been popular in recent years, and RMC did 5 coasters in 2018. 5 coasters. Yeah. I mean, and how many did they do in 2017? I don't know off the top of my head. They did a few, at least 2 or 3, something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe Busch has wanted to get it RMC'd, but RMC has been like, no, we just don't have room for you, and you're a big coaster. We can't do that.
I feel like if the plan's always been a 200-foot, I feel like they'd make time for them. I mean, that's... I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it comes the question is, what came first, Steel Vengeance or this? I mean, what were they more focused on? Were they wanting to get the Cedar Point coaster out, or were they wanting to get the Busch Gardens coaster out? Now we're going deeper into that. I don't know. It's just really... That's a question I feel like we need to ask Busch Gardens, definitely, down the line.
Yes, definitely. But at the same time, RMC and Busch Tampa might have been in conversation about this, but RMC, like I said, might have been, no, we can't do it now. That gave Busch time to consider their options. Do they want it to duel? Do they want to race? And once Steel Vengeance was released, I'm sure that's when Busch said, no, we want to go bigger and better. And that could have been when they, when they contacted RMC again, that they designed this thing. Who knows?
Yeah, it's really... I'm really worried. I'm really not concerned or anything. I'm interested in knowing the decision process for this coaster, and especially in terms of layout. I mean, we've seen a lot of the track. I believe it's on the Tiger side. I said that in my video as well. I'm not 100% sure. Probably should have confirmed that, but I believe it's the Tiger side that has been mostly demolished, and the Lion side has remained in shape. Like everything's pretty much still up. So that's where a lot of people are. Obviously, now we know that it's going to be a single coaster. It's not going to be a dueling coaster. But it looks to me and a lot of people that the layout's going to be a lot shorter than we would want. I feel like a coaster like with Gwazi, I mean, if you go on Google Earth right now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're available, you look at the massive structure that Gwazi had. Huge. I mean, I am so surprised that they did not take more advantage of making this the longest. I mean, that is the biggest key, I believe, in Steel Vengeance. And we'll talk about more against the Steel Vengeance versus this later. But in terms of Steel Vengeance, the drop on it, it's good. It's not... I don't consider the drop on Steel Vengeance at all the greatest element on that ride for a long shot. And definitely the steepness doesn't really matter. So, like, saying the tallest and steepest to me doesn't really matter. The speed, I'm sure it's only going to be like a 5 miles per hour at the most, faster than Steel Vengeance. It's not going to be like 90 miles per hour. It's going to be like 80 or 70, 8 or something like that. It's not going to be much faster. So I feel like the length record would have been the biggest deal for them to break. I feel like if they said we break the length record, everyone would be like, oh my God, that is it. That is the greatest steel coaster. I mean, it's beating Steel Vengeance length, still beating the speed, still beating the height. I feel like that's all the categories the Steel Vengeance beat. The length of Steel Vengeance is what defines the ride, though. It really is. I don't think anyone can argue that's not. The amount of airtime, the amount of inversions. This might not even have 4 inversions. This might have, like, some people are saying that they think they might just have 3. So I don't know. I feel like they had a lot of potential. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this ride's not going to be amazing. I'm not saying this isn't going to be, one of the best RMCs, one of the best coasters ever. 100%. But I feel like they could have made this the best coaster, plain and simple. That's it. I feel like they had the potential to do that, like Steel Vengeance did, and I feel like they might have missed an opportunity. I don't know. I'm still looking forward to seeing. Maybe they add on some track. Maybe it's brand new wood they're going to bring in, because maybe the wood was too rotted, and they really just had to retrack the entire thing and do a whole new structure. So maybe some portions of the ride, maybe it will eventually be longer, but it's not going to beat Steel Vengeance. We know that, because it's not the longest. They would say the longest if that was a record they were breaking, and they're not. They don't seem like they're going to be breaking that. So I'm a little disappointed in that.
Yeah. I just can't wait to see it. It looks great.
It does look great. It does look great. And yeah, again, I'm not trying to take away from the ride, but I think they had potential, and a little bit of potential has been taken away. I don't know. So Six Flags Over Georgia has definitely done something that's been needed. I went to Six Flags Over Georgia this past October, actually, and the big coaster that you see when you drive in is Goliath, and right next to that is Georgia Scorcher. So those are the two biggies. The two biggies that you see when you're driving in the park. You literally ride right underneath Goliath, and you ride right past Georgia Scorcher, excuse me. And Georgia Scorcher was one of the worst looking coasters I think I've ever seen. I mean, it was peeled. It was like nasty, dirty looking. This is a coaster that deserved a repaint. Not only needed one, but deserved one. I mean, I can't think of any other coaster in the world that deserves one more than this. I mean, it looked like it hadn't been touched in 20 years. And I don't think it has. I mean, not 20, but when it first, I don't think it's been repainted since it's opened. I mean, I seriously would not doubt that at all.
It doesn't look like it has been.
But it has been confirmed, and we have seen it on different Reddit and Discord and whatnot. We've seen that large sections of the Georgia Scorcher track are being repainted. And the weird thing is that people are saying they're seeing sections of supports being painted gray, and they're seeing sections of track being painted white. And a lot of people are saying that's probably just primer, but is it really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, the park opens in a week. I mean, literally, I believe it's the 9th, or no, it's next week, excuse me. But it is a week. So I feel like if you're just now putting on primer for the coaster, that week you can paint a coaster, I feel like, but still, that's cutting it close. So, is this primer? And if so, are we going to see a potential retheme of the ride? I don't know. I feel like it's going to stay the Georgia Scorcher. I feel like it's definitely, maybe it's a new paint. Maybe I don't know. The question is it primer? And then the question is it going to be still yellow and black? Are they going to change that color scheme at all? Is it going to still remain? Because when it opened, I believe it was yellow and purple, actually. Like, the supports were purple. And then I guess they painted the supports, so I guess they have painted it since then, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe they just painted the supports. But when it first opened, it was yellow and purple. So are we going to maybe go back that route? Is it going to change completely? I don't know. I definitely think this is primer, but I'm a little concerned that, well, I'm not even concerned, but I'm just a little curious to see if this is a retheme, or is this a new color scheme at all, or I'm really curious and seeing what's going on there.
That's definitely going to be themed to Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
no, I really don't know. But if it's getting repainted now, then I think we can rule out them converting it to a floorless coaster.
Yeah, I think we can.
So I know people have said that Georgia Scorcher is not a bad stand-up.
It's a great.
I haven't been able to ride it yet. But if it's going to be repainted this year, I think we can probably rule out it going to a floorless coaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why any park would paint it white. I don't know why Six Flags, especially the coaster right up front.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll see color in the coming weeks. We can bet on that.
Well, it does actually open. I looked the 9th. So that's a week. So maybe is it going to be closed? For the opening day, is it going to remain closed, or are we going to see it reopen under this color? I mean, I don't know. This is It's a little strange. I feel like it's cutting it close to start painting it like now when it's literally opening days right down the corner. I'm worried. I mean, that's why people are saying, is it primer? I mean, that's really, because if this was like midway through the offseason, if this was January or even February at this point, I'd be like, yeah, it's just primer. But it is cutting it close to just start priming it now. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's primer, but I don't know. Is it going to remain closed for the opening day celebration? Is it going to open the next weekend, or are they somehow going to finish this up in 5 days? I don't know. I'm maybe the photos we saw were a couple. Maybe they could have been. I believe they were like last week. So maybe at this point they already have painted it, and we just people haven't been there and looked yet. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's all speculation. I mean, in honesty, doesn't really matter. I mean, I think regardless of what color scheme it is, regardless of what is it's primer or not, or if they're retheming it, it's still a great ride. The real thing is, though, with this, is it going to receive new trains? And I don't believe that is. I mean, I've seen people saying maybe it'll receive new trains, new stand-up trains. I don't really think that would be the route. When I rode it, it was smooth, it was fun, it was a great ride. I really enjoyed it. The color, it did look terrible as a ride, but it was a fun ride. And like I said, I think it's the most deserving coaster I've ever seen. I mean, Apollo's Chariot definitely deserved one this off-season. I got one. I think that deserved one, but this on a whole other level than Apollo's Chariot. This on a whole other level. It just looked terrible. So I know we're ragging on it now, but yeah, I mean, the coaster, that's the big question. Is it going to be rethemed? Is it primer? I mean, I think it's cutting a little close for opening day, but I don't know.
Yeah. Sure look good. Nice and shiny.
Yeah, so Carowinds now. Talk about them. I know, Daniel, you were excited to talk about this earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Carowinds, Copperhead Strike is going to have seatbelts. That has been announced. We've seen it. So the question is, and I know, Daniel, I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit on this, and let me hear your opinions on this before I talk a little bit about this. I know you're excited. So is this good? Is it bad? Or does it really matter? I mean, that's the big question, and I know you have a strong opinion. So, Daniel, you can
go. The only thing that matters... Okay. It's not like a seatbelt that you see on Carowinds Intimidator, Carowinds Fury, or Diamondback on those B&Ms, where it's a seatbelt across your waist, and then the clamshell comes down. When on every other B&M Hyper with a clamshell does not use that, and that's what gets people irked up about those coasters, and that it doesn't really hinder my experience on any of those coasters. I don't remember it. But that does add to the loading time more than the seatbelt that is being added to Copperhead Strike. The one on Copperhead Strike is being added between the legs, just like on many other over-the-shoulder restraints that you see out in the parks on B&M and other coasters with over-the-shoulder. It comes down, and then you grab that thing between your legs, and you lock it in on your restraint. That's exactly the same thing on Copperhead Strike. It might affect the larger folks out there trying to ride, trying to fit into the seats, apparently. But it might slow down operations slightly, but not as much as the seatbelts on Intimidator or Fury. So, look, it's not going to hinder my ride. I'm going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really think it matters. I know people are getting a little upset about it. I know, yeah, like you said, the larger folks will have a problem, but I don't know. I mean, regardless with the restraints, I mean, if it has the seatbelt, if not, I mean, if you're that large, no offense, you're not going to be able to fit on it probably, even without the seatbelts, even if it didn't have seatbelts. So I don't think saying a seatbelt's going to completely ruin your ride experience is correct. It's not right. I don't think that's correct, because I'm not a small guy by any means, but I'm still definitely going to fit on this ride. And I'm not afraid. I'm 200 pounds. I'm 6 foot even, actually. I don't think it's going to hinder my ride experience at all. And so people that are like huge and like 6'6" and like 280 pounds, those people, I know those people. I'm friends with some of those people. They're huge. They're big. They're not even just like in the sense of like obesity huge. I'm talking like muscle and just like huge men, and even some women that are tall. So I don't know if it might hinder your ride experience, but I feel like the safety behind it is good. I mean, I know it's coming from good intentions. They're not doing this, and they're not going like, "Oh, yes, we want to hinder the ride experience of these people." There are safety precautions, and especially with Cedar Fair, we know they are very, I guess their stock depends upon the safety because they seem to be very, very interested and very concerned in safety. I mean, no other park has seatbelts, like you said, on these hyper coasters and on these B&M coasters like this, like Cedar Fair does, like on Fury and like Magnum. I mean Intimidator. Excuse me. So they definitely care much about their safety, and so I don't know. I mean, it's not. It doesn't matter really. It's not bad. It's not good. I don't think. I think it's in the middle.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Carowinds definitely having a problem with some people though. So I don't know. So Carowinds just announced that they're having seatbelts. Six Flags Over Georgia is going to get a paint job with for Georgia Scorcher, and Busch Gardens obviously just announced one of the biggest roller coasters of all time with RMC Gwazi. One of the most anticipated, I'd say. I mean, even with Steel Vengeance, this is a huge one as well. I mean, like I said, I've been talking about it since early 2018. So now it is time to go on to Coaster Craze. We're going to talk about actually two things there. We're actually going to talk about two little things real quick. So let's move on to the next segment. Need a break or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Okay, let me get my people up. So, over the past month or so, I have been raising money for a great charity called Coasting for Kids. No, they're not. They're called Give Kids the World. Oh, my God. The charity is Give Kids the World. No, it's not, James. Come on. Okay. I need to put Give Kids the World on here. Dash that, then, since I'm dumb. And I'm like in the top 5 of like the donators for Busch Gardens, but I'm like really far. Like I've raised like 350, and everyone else is like the next level is like 700, and then the next level is like 1,000, and everyone's like, so I'm like I'm in the top 5, but I'm like a little bit behind. I mean, I haven't really. I need to be more active and like ask people more.
Yeah, every dollar counts though, and some people have more connections
Exactly.
to other people.
Clint Novak. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, he's freaking Clint Novak. Of course, he's gonna have
1,300.
Yes.
But he's also what he's doing is he's matching everybody. Like everybody that pays, he's matching their price or whatever. So.
Oh, that's generous.
Cheating the system. I'm just kidding. Raising money for a good cause is not cheating the system. I'm joking.
I mean, it makes other people spend because they want to make him spend a lot.
Let's chip in $1 million real quick. Okay. So over the past couple months, I have been raising money for a great charity called Give Kids the World. And if you don't know about them, they have a village in Florida. It's a really great village where they have basically they have some kids rides and family rides. They also have almost like little apartments, and they're decorated and they are themed to just really cool. Like they'll have animals themed and they'll have other such themes. Sometimes they'll have, I believe they have some movie themed apartments and stuff, and they have ice cream parlors and they have all this great stuff around the village for these kids. And they also will pay pay for the kids' vacations in Florida. So they will pay for them to go to Universal. They will pay for them to go to Disney. They will pay for them to go to SeaWorld and Busch Gardens. And this is all for critically ill kids. It's not just anybody that wants to go. This is critically ill children. And for the past couple of months, I've been raising money for this charity for an event called Coasting for Kids, where we raise money for the charity. And we also get to go Busch Gardens on March 24th. And we're going to get ERT on a bunch of the coasters, such as I believe we have Invader, Alpengeist and Griffin, Loch Ness Monster, and Verbolten. Those are the ERT coasters. And I believe it's from 8:30 in the morning till 10:30 when the park opens. So it's a fun-filled day, but it's more than just the ERT. I did not do this for the ERT, so don't be like, oh, he's raising money because he wants the ERT. That's not at all why I chose to do this. I didn't actually knew when I first signed up that we got ERT. I thought it was just going to be like a meetup or something. But yes, you do get ERT, and I think that's really awesome that you do that. And a lot of times, I believe they're going to have some of the critically ill kids there that we're helping, and we get to actually meet the people that we are helping. So that's really awesome. So there's going to be an event there, March 24th, like I said, where we're going to get ERT, but we're also going to well, obviously, we raised the money. And that's the big thing. And so I'd like to real quickly give a shout out to everyone that on my Facebook page, which we have raised $330, which may not seem like a whole lot, but I'm actually in the top 5 fundraisers. I believe like number 1 is Clint Novak. Number 2 is, I believe it's, I want to say his name is Bob. I don't know exactly everyone on the top 5, but I know I'm in the top 5. I'm in the 5th place, $330. So I'm really happy and proud that I can raise that money for these kids. And so my Aunt Susan, she actually donated. So thank you so much. My mom Jill donated. So thank you so much. My other aunt Debbie, she donated. Thank you so much. My good friend and friends with Daniel, is my friend Timmy. Timmy donated a lot. So that meant a lot to me. My great grandma, well, not my great grandma, my great aunt, donated $100. So I didn't really specify everyone else's amount because I don't think it really matters how much, but she donated $100. So I do want to shout out to her. That's a huge amount. I'm really grateful for her. I told her I'm really grateful and that I owe her big time for that and that I loved her. And so that was great. Michelle donated and also Jen donated. So basically everybody on that list except Timmy was a woman. So hashtag women's pride there. Thank you guys so much for the help. So again, March 24th. There's actually other events too. I want to shout this out real quick. So if you are listening to this and you go to a Kennywood or any Six Flags park, there's going to be an event this year for you. So check that out, coastingforkids.com, and you can go check out their event and get some ERT, but also help out a great organization. So the other thing we're going to talk about here in Coaster Craze today is our 2019 trips, which Coasting for Kids will be a part of mine. But Daniel, you have a lot of trips planned for this year. You have a lot of fun trips and long road trip I know planned. So you go into your trips real quick, and we'll discuss that and see what you're doing this year in 2019.
All right. Okay. Well, 2 of them actually pertain to 2 of the coasters we just talked about up in attraction news. So my first trip, I'm taking my sister down to Carowinds and over Georgia. It'll be her first time at both of those parks. I can't wait to get her onto Fury and Twisted Cyclone. Mm-hmm. That'll be her first RMC. Mm-hmm. I'm just excited to take that trip with her.
Yeah, Twisted Cyclone, fantastic RMC too. One of my favorites. It's actually my 3rd favorite out of the 4 I've ridden. It actually beats Wicked Cyclone. So maybe we'll see.
You told me to ride in the front seat there.
Yes. Night ride, front row, amazing.
We'll try to do that. So that's the first trip. That'll be coming up in May. And that's going to be a complete ball. And hope to experience Georgia Scorcher with its new paint job.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be open by then. I mean, I don't know.
Hopefully it'll be open and painted.
I think it will be. I think it's safe to say. I'm
sure. And then the other one, I'll be meeting up with you, James, halfway through over at Holiday World in Indiana for Hollywood Nights. So along that trip, I'll be heading to Dollywood, Kentucky Kingdom, and then over to Waldameer up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Kennywood to end it all off and ride Steel Curtain. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great 2019. And hopefully maybe after all these parks and all these plans, we can have you back on and we can discuss how all the trips were and how it turned out.
Oh, most definitely. We can work that in.
Yeah, we can work that in. I know you're a very busy man. You're very... I know you have your things you have to do, but we'll work it.
Yeah, I got to twiddle my thumbs a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's the life we chose. It's the life we chose. So this month, I am actually heading to Busch Gardens twice. I'll be going next week, 2 weeks from now, March 16th for Busch Gardens Pass Holder Preview Day. I'm really excited about that. Then I'll be going for the Coasting for Kids event. I'm really excited about that. Meet up with some of the kids that I'm helping and also meet up with some of the enthusiasts that are also helping and ride a lot of coasters and get some ERT. And the next weekend, March 30th, I'll be going to King's Dominion for their opening day. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get back on Twisted. I'm excited to get back on Intimidator 305. I'm excited to get back on Dominator. And I'm curious, and in a sentimental way, I'm curious to see if Volcano will still be intact, or what we're going to be seeing with Volcano. Are they going to be already starting to demolish the coaster? Are we going to, maybe the mountain? I'm curious, is it just going to be standing still and nothing's done to it? I'm curious to see, and a little sad to see what's going to go on with that coaster. I know they said, some people have said it's up for sale. I don't know 100% if that's true or not. I know I saw it on a subreddit, and I was like, I don't know. But people have said they've seen it for sale, and I don't know if that's... I was like, I don't know how you can sell a coaster that's having so much maintenance issues, especially when it's built for that volcano. I replied like that. So I don't believe that's for true, but some people are saying that they've seen that. I don't know. So the next week, next month, actually, June, I'll be heading... Or actually, excuse me, June. Yeah, May. June, yeah. Just had to count my months there. June, I will be heading to Carowinds for Carowinds Campout. I'm really, really excited about that. That's not next month, is it?
No, next month is April.
Yeah. I just stalled completely. I was like, May, June, July, August. What?
Just name them all, you'll get one of them.
So people have said they've seen it for sale, and I don't know. Let me see where I can cut it out. How you can sell a coaster
all right, no worries.
Maintenance issues, especially when it's built for that volcano. I don't know. So the next, so I'll just say. So the next month, April, I'll be going to Carowinds for the Carowinds Coaster Campout. We're going to get, I believe we get in the park around 6. You bring in your stuff around 8, and you start setting up your tent. And then at 10, we get ERT on Copperhead Strike that night. Oh my gosh. An hour of ERT, nighttime ERT. That's going to be insane. That's going to be awesome. And then that night, we actually get a dinner, and we also get a movie. So we get to watch a movie. I believe it's going to be in the Harmony Hall, which I really love that building. That facility is awesome. It's really cool. So we're going to get I'm assuming dinner, and a movie. So that's going to be really impressive. I'm really excited about that. I'm curious to see what movie. It better be a good movie. It better not be one of these cheesy cartoon movies. It better be like a good movie. And I don't know. So, and then in the morning, we're going to wake up, and we're going to get an hour of ERT on Fury. That's going to be amazing. So 2 of the most highly anticipated coasters. Even though I've ridden Fury, I'm still always anticipating that coaster. I've been to Carowinds 4 times, but I can never get enough of that coaster. I've ridden it like 30 times, I believe, and I just can't get enough. Cannot. It's just amazing. It's just an amazing ride. So I'm excited to get back on that. And then in May and June, actually, Daniel, we are going to be going to Hollywood Nights at Kentucky Kingdom, and that's going to be amazing. I know we talked about that a little bit, but we can maybe go into more detail on what's going on there now that both of us have talked about it some. So we're actually going to get, I believe it's 6 o'clock you get there, and we have dinner and whatever, and then they open it up for ERT, and you get, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is it 6 to 12 you get ERT, or is it 8 to 12? I believe it's 8. I believe it might be 8 to 12. I know it's like 4 or 3 hours. It doesn't matter. 4 or 3 hours
it's
of ERT.
It's a lot of time on all the coasters.
On Thunderbird, on Voyage, on Raven, on all of the coasters there. I believe even the Kiddie coaster.
I think so. So that'll be a credit.
For the coaster credits, exactly. There we go. There we go. So I'm looking so much to that event. And then in the morning we get to wake up and get to do it all over again. And we also get Splash and Safari ERT a little bit too, I believe, in the morning. So that's going to be awesome. Get
if
on
you
some
choose
of their,
to go, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get in their water park. I've heard it's one of the best water parks in the country. And then Kentucky Kingdom also. We're going to do that. I believe I'm doing it Friday with Daniel, and then Sunday I'll be also going back for like a little bit because I want to go back and get some more rides on some of the coasters. I believe I'd be getting like a half a day Friday, and then I'd be going up to the park, and I didn't feel like that's enough time. I know it's a small park, but I just felt personally I wanted more time there. So I'm going to head back Sunday before I leave Monday back and come back to Virginia. So that's just a trip that I'm looking so much forward to. I feel like it's going to be... I finally get to fly. I mean, I flew before, but it has been a while, and I really want to... I love flying, or at least I remember I love flying. It's such a fun and exhilarating feeling, so I want to get back up in the air and fly around. That's going to be awesome. So then we have a couple parks. All these parks now don't really have...
Well, you'll be able to fly at Kentucky Kingdom with the new Kentucky Flyer.
Yeah, cancel the trip. Cancel the flight. We're gonna drive because I want to fly on that more. I don't want to cancel the fun. I want to be able to fly on that, and not fly on real life. So we have a couple parks here now that are not really. They're parks I'm going to, but they're not official dates yet. So Six Flags Great America. I'm really looking forward to Max Force. Really looking forward to
Nice.
Goliath. Really looking forward to that park. I don't know. That's going to be exam. Michigan's Adventure might squeeze in there. Dollywood I might squeeze in there. Carowinds definitely, like I've said. I might go back like later on in the year as well, like maybe for their Christmas event. Or even though they don't really have the coasters open, I might like to go and check that out. Especially maybe Dollywood's Christmas event too. Kennywood, I'm going to on my way up. And that, actually all of these parks, Kennywood, Waldameer, and Canada's Wonderland, I'll be doing in one trip up to Niagara Falls and back for my family reunion. So I'll get Kennywood in, Steel Curtain, that's going to be awesome. Waldameer, I'll get Ravine Flyer 2. And I know they have they have 2 or 3 other coasters there, but I don't really care about any of those. I mean, there's like a spinning coaster and like a kiddie coaster. I'll get the credits, but I don't really care too much about that park, other than Ravine Flyer 2. That ride looks amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. It looks like a mini voyage, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Canada's Wonderland, I'll be getting on Yukon Striker, and I'll get back on Leviathan, which is the most underlooked coaster, I believe. Overlooked by American enthusiasts, at least. I mean, people say it's like nowhere close. I'm like, it's literally like 20 feet shorter than Fury. It goes like 5 miles per hour less than Fury. Come on, guys, give it a break. It deserves. And people are like, well, the second half of the ride is just a helix and one airtime. I'm like, yeah, and the it's you have to ride it. It's speed. It's fun. It's just a great ride. I do believe sometimes I think I rate it too high. I have it my 6th spot right now, and I have it above rides like Twisted Timbers and I-305 and Sky Rush and all that. And people are like, and I'm like, it's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but whatever. Getting off on a sidetrack there, but yeah, those are all my trips for 2019 as of now. Some might be added, some might be taken off. I don't know. But all the ones that I read to you that had dates are definitely confirmed, and all of them that didn't. Six Flags Great America, I can confirm that's happening. I can confirm that Knoebels, I forgot to mention Knoebels. Knoebels is happening. Kennywood's happening. Kennywood's happening. Waldameer's happening. And Canada's Wonderland's happening. So, and Busch Gardens and Kingsmead, obviously. So, a lot of parks are happening, and I'm really looking forward to 2019. So, now we're going to move on to the next segment. We're gonna have a debate here. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a debate. I don't know how you feel about this. We'll have to see how each other feels about this. We're gonna have to talk about that in the break run. Well, Knoebels seemed to excite you.
Oh, Knoebels is one of my favorite parks. It's just so utterly different.
You think you're gonna make it up there next year?
No, unfortunately.
It's not too far from you, though, is it?
It's a 3-hour drive.
There's no way. It's 3 hours from me.
It's a 3-hour drive. It's longer for you because Hershey Park is 2 hours from me. And
it's only 4 hours.
Like an hour.
It's 4.5 hours from me.
There you go. Yeah, because you're coming from Richmond, and Richmond's about an hour and a half.
Hershey's only 3.5 though, for me.
Yeah, exactly. There's an hour and a half difference between yours and my times if you're traveling up 95 there.
You're in Washington.
Yes,
so.
that's right.
Washington's more like 2 hours though, so I don't know.
Well, it depends on what part of Richmond and what part of DC you're going or coming from.
True.
And what time of day.
Yeah, it does really. Yeah.
Oh.
You guys have it terrible up there.
Gosh.
Okay, so airtime or inversions, Daniel?
Airtime.
Thank you. There we go. So we agree. But okay, here we go. So a question that I think appears a lot with coach enthusiasts, or maybe sometimes coach enthusiasts think about, maybe not talk about so much because, really, I don't hear this question actually talked about that much, but it's something that I think easily is compared sometimes. And sometimes when people are doing reviews on YouTube, you talk about this. You talk about what factors are better or more important. And this question for the break run this week was airtime or inversions. And a question, like I said, that appears a lot when doing reviews or anything. So like when I'm doing a roller coaster, I sometimes have to state, the inversions just don't matter to me and it doesn't do as much for me. But some people feel differently. So we had a poll on Instagram. Airtime got 56 votes, which is 71% of the vote. And so there right now you can tell that it pretty much crushed. And then inversions only got 23 votes, which is 29% of the vote. So, I don't know. I mean, it is a close battle. I think if you have a good solid inversion, it can be very close to a good solid airtime hill. But I think a lot of times when you talk about inversions, a lot of times they're thrown in there. They don't seem as strong. I mean, rides like Alpengeist, definitely, the inversions matter. But there are some rides where, I mean, Copperhead Strike, I think some of the inversions on that look very thrown in. Like the vertical loop doesn't look that amazing to me. I mean, I think the stall looks amazing with the hang time, but the vertical loop looks a little like, I wish we could have had more straight track for the launch more than have a vertical loop there. So rides like that, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, airtime definitely matters more, in my opinion. You get a good ejector. I mean, the El Toro, Daniel, I think you can agree, one of the best coasters out there. You get a strong woof of airtime like you get on El Toro, and I think that outweighs any inversion in the history of the world. I don't think any inversion can ever come to such a sensation as you get, or that you get on that El Toro airtime hill, the first airtime hill, or the second, or whatever you wanted, the Rolling Thunder hill. Those 3 airtime hills, the sensation you get on those is insane. It's so much fun. It's painful, but it's in a good way. It's like good pain. I want that pain. I desire that pain. It's so much fun to experience that pain. So, I know that sounds a little strange, but you know where I'm going with that. Though. I think coaster enthusiasts will understand where I'm going with that. So, I don't know. Obviously, the audience agrees. They think airtime is more important. But Daniel, do you have anything more to elaborate on with that?
Well, when we're talking about like inversions and airtime, you think of the best inversion you've ridden, but think of the best airtime hill you've ridden. And my favorite inversion is from the back seat of Afterburn at Carowinds on the first vertical loop. Yes. And that just, the G-forces that it pulls. And then, as you said, El Toro, those airtime hills were just glorious. And Twisted Timbers, the 3 airtime hills in a row on that stretch.
That is a good ride to compare when you're talking about this, because you have the inversions, but you also have the airtime. And so if we took away all the inversions, I don't think I'd be as upset as if they took away all the airtime. If you took away all the airtime elements, I'd be very upset with that ride. But if you took away all the inversions, I would not care. I would not. I was seriously. It could have a straight drop. It could have, where that corkscrew or where that 0G roll is. You could just have another set of airtime hills. I don't think I would care as much. Just like New Texas Giant, I think that looks like a fantastic ride. I know you've ridden it and you think it's a great ride. But if that ride was just full of inversions, I don't know if it'd be as strong. Seriously, like if it just kind of meandered around and had some inversions here and there, I don't know. I feel like it would be a little bit weaker.
New Texas Giant, I love it, but I just can't put it into the same classification as any RMC after it.
I think it probably didn't have a strong ejector airtime as like Twisted Timbers.
RMC was very tame with it. Like RMC, you could tell it's RMC when riding it. But RMC played it safe. I mean, it was their first conversion, first Iron Horse, and I don't think they wanted to break it. And so I understand why it's not it's a tamer ride. But I try not to compare it to like Twisted Timbers or Steel Vengeance because there's just no comparison. It's utterly its own, being the first one of its type.
Or say Steel Vengeance. I mean that ride took away the inversions. Added an airtime hill. That 0G stall that comes out of the first drop. If you made that a big airtime hill, I don't think I would mind as much as if you just took away all the airtime on that ride defines the ride. I don't think there's a ride. I mean, maybe the Smiler, but other than that, I don't think there's a ride that is defined by the inversions. There are a couple out there, but there's not a wide variety of rides that are defined by its inversions. There are rides that include inversions because they're fun, but I don't think a ride that you go, that ride's awesome because of the inversions, other than rides like Smiler and obviously Steel Curtain and a couple others out there that have like 6 or 7 inversions, like Alpengeist. But there are many more rides like all the B&M Hypers, all the Morgan Hypers, all the rides like that are based solely on airtime. I mean, you can look at a wide variety of rides that are literally just based on airtime, and with inversions, you don't get that much variety. Like I don't see, like obviously there are some coasters that are, like I said, based on the inversions, but I don't think there's as a wide variety. So I feel like when you're talking about what matters more and which one obviously produces a better ride experience, I think having more airtime really makes it a better ride. I don't know, but that's an opinion, and obviously, like I said, the audience is agreeing, but maybe that's not why. Maybe I'm not reaching the point that all the audience members feel, but I feel like for me at least, that's why I feel the airtime is better element.
Yeah, if you line up like the 3 airtime hills on Twisted Timber. You line up 3 or 4 airtime hills in a row, and if you line up 3 loops or 3 inversions, 4 inversions in a row, I would rather ride the coaster with the multiple airtime hills in a row, because airtime works like that. Just loop after loop after loop just gets, I don't know, it gets tiresome for me. And it's probably the G-forces that really do it in. I love the G-forces, but it's got to be paced well and spaced out correctly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really curious to ride Smiler and see. I mean, I've heard that people literally, they ride it and it doesn't even feel like you're going upside down as many times as you do. So with rides like that, I don't know. Does that make it better? I don't know. I'm curious to see. But I feel like that's one of the exceptions to the rules, because I mean, not every coaster has 15 inversions or 13 inversions.
No.
So when designing a ride, as a engineer when I'm designing a ride, I think adding some more airtime makes the ride better. I mean, plain and simple. I don't think adding the extra 3 or 4 inversions would make the ride a better ride. I don't know. I feel like also trying to commit to the general public side of things, they definitely stray away from rides that go upside down a lot. I mean, if you hear people in line, it is, oh my gosh, this thing goes up down 5 times or 4 times or 3 times. I don't know about this.
Even one time you get people going, I don't want one. It goes upside down once.
Yeah. Like Loch Ness Monster. I mean, that's 2, and they're like, what? It goes upside down twice? But rides like Apollo's Chariot, you get some people going, no, that's tall, but you don't get anybody like freaking out as much, I feel like, even on the coaster that's smaller but goes upside down. So I feel like appealing to the general public side of things and appealing to the enthusiast side of things, I think airtime wins both times. I think for enthusiasts, I prefer a ride filled with airtime. Definitely. If you told me, like you said, do you want to ride El Toro or you want to ride Smiler? 100% El Toro. And you might, well, I don't know about that actually, but whatever. That's an example. If I had already ridden Smiler and already been to the UK, I would say El Toro. But if I'm saying like Smiler now, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go to England and ride that. but if I had ridden both of them, I think 100% I'd say El Toro. The ride that has the airtime, the ride that is based upon that amazing ejector feeling, is definitely superior to the inversion. Because, like you said, inversions can be exhausting. They can be tiresome, especially, like you said, multiple. That's why a lot of inverts and rides like that, they have, like you said, pace it throughout the ride. It's not just inversion. You go through inversion, then you'll go through a little bit of straight track and glide around, maybe a helix, and then you'll go into a batwing, and then you'll go into like Afterburn does. It goes into like a little meandering right before it goes into the last 0G roll. It meanders a little bit. So you have to pace the ride right. And I think airtime, you can just bam, 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 bam. It just doesn't matter. I can get as much airtime, and it's not as exhilarating as going upside down multiple times. So, I don't know. That's what we think. That's what me and Daniel believe about airtime or inversions. Let's now talk about next week's weekly poll, which will be next week's break run. So this is the big question that we talked a little bit about earlier. I don't think I'm not going to answer this because this is for next week's show. But Daniel, let's get your side of things. Will RMC Gwazi be the superior ride when talking about Steel Vengeance? Is it going to be the better ride?
It's hard to say. You won't know until we've ridden it, but I don't know. It just doesn't hype me up as much as Steel Vengeance did.
Yeah.
The maneuvers I saw from Steel Vengeance, and just the way they looked, and then riding it. So having seen the animation and pictures, renderings, and then riding it last year is just different than what I've seen from Gwazi. So comparing those, it's I don't think it'll be better than Steel Vengeance, but it should still be a solid ride and be among the best.
Yeah, I'd definitely be among the best. So yeah, I'm gonna leave my opinion for next week. I will emphasize that I can agree with Daniel. I definitely agree with Daniel there. But I'll emphasize more of my opinion next week, though, definitely. Because I definitely have a side of things about this. But we'll let you guys vote on this. We'll get to see the results. I'm hoping it'll be close to what we got for airtime inversions, saying 71% yes. Or 71% no, and 29% no. So, I don't know. We'll see what we get results. So, I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous actually because I don't want people to be saying that it's going to be better and always seen as animation and a PV. So like Daniel's saying, we haven't seen the renderings and stuff, so I don't feel like you can say it is going to be better seeing the first drop in a 0G roll. So I don't know. So that's been it for Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. I have been your host, James Barber. It's also been Daniel.
Hey, thanks for having me on, James. Can I tell my social media?
Yeah. Plug it all in.
All right. So I only have an Instagram account where I post my photos of roller coasters.
Great photos.
It's at DP period coaster photos. Pretty easy to remember. DP coaster photos.
Yeah, great photos too. So check us out. I'll plug myself in too. Check us out on Twitter at CoasterTalk_pod, Facebook at Coaster Talk Pod, Instagram at Coaster Talk Pod, and we'll see you guys all next week. Okie dokie. I call that a show.
Nice.
Did have people in the live looking. Thank you guys for watching. Okay, so I'm going to close that off so we can...